Welcome on out to Lee Jordan Field here in beautiful downtown Chugiak, Alaska. About to start tonight's game between your Chugiak Eagle River Chinooks and the Matsu Miners. Thank you for joining us. I'm Lance Morris here, bringing you the play-by-play coverage of your Chinooks. We thank you if you made us a part of your day yesterday for any of the All-Star festivities in Anchorage. We saw the Home Run Derby as well as the All-Star game. Got to see a lot of Chinooks do well in both of those assets. We saw Tim Millard and Ethan Whisker in the Home Run Derby and a herd of Chinooks on both of the All-Star teams. Starting pitcher today for your Chinooks is Cody White. Cody leads the Chinooks in wins with 4. 26 innings pitched, 13 strikeouts, 17 walks, a 3.46 ERA. First 3 hitters for the Matsu Miners, Josh Bissonette, A.J. Lee, and Jake Scudder. No Levi Jordan in the lineup today for the Miners. First pitch to Bissonette. Inside, ball 1. First pitch time of 6:03, about an hour earlier than normal as the sun actually starts to go down a little bit here in Alaska. The 1-0. Down and outside, ball 2. 2-0 the count to Bissonette. Bissonette hitting .250 on the summer. Here's the 2-0. Inside called strike 1. Bissonette, the freshman from Baylor, originally from Anaheim, California. The 2-1. Hit on the ground hard towards short. Isaac Alvarez will field it. Gets it over to Ethan Whisker at first. In time, out number 1. One down, top of the first inning here between the Chinooks and the Miners. A.J. Lee now coming up to the plate. First pitch to A.J. Lee. Tries to lay it down him up, but that's fouled back. Defensively for the Chinooks, Mason Mallard out in left field. Zach Sanford patrolling the middle and center field. Hunter Vansaw is in right field. Here's the 0-1. Inside, ball 1. 1-1 the count to A.J. Lee. In the infield, Tim Millard at third, Isaac Alvarez at short. Will Bass at second, Ethan Whisker at first, Ben Hill doing the catching. The 1-1 swung at and missed by Lee. He'll fall behind 1-2. Lee, the freshman from Maryland, hitting .175 on the summer. The 1-2. He'll pop that one out towards left field, fairly deep. And Mason Mallard still able to camp under that for out number 2.
Number 22, the first baseman, Jake Scudder.
Jake Scudder up to the plate for the Miners, 2 down, top of the first inning. Scudder was one of the participants in the Home Run Derby yesterday. His Miners teammate Cam Montgomery was the winner of that contest. First pitch to Scudder in there, called strike 1 on the inner half of the plate. Scudder, the junior from Kansas State. The 0-1. In there, called strike 2. Scudder quickly falls behind 0-2. 0-2 the count to the first baseman, Jake Scudder. Here's the 0-2. Upstairs, ball 1. 1-2 the count. Scudder hit 3 home runs in the Home Run Derby yesterday. That was not enough to advance out of the first round. The 1-2. Just outside, ball 2. Scudder hitting at .247 on the summer. 2 home runs, both of those home runs against the Chinooks. The 2-2. Laced on the ground, right side, just foul. That'll make it once again 2-2. Jake Scudder. Scudder looking to keep this inning going for the Miners. Michael Donadio on deck. The 2-2. Hit on the ground towards second. Will Bass will field it. Gets it over to Ethan Muskrat first in time for out number 3. So I'll do it for the top of the first inning here in Chugiak. Miners go down 1-2-3. They failed to do anything. Chinook half of the first coming in just a moment. Welcome back out to Lee Jordan Field, starting the bottom of the first inning between the Matsu Miners and Chugiak Eagle River Chinooks. On the mound for the Miners today, Stephen Kolick, the freshman from Texas A&M. It'll be his 4th start of the summer. Still has not recorded a decision. 14 innings pitched, 10 strikeouts to 4 walks. First pitch to Will Bass, down low, ball 1. The 1-0 to Bass. Hit back foul. Well, Bass hitting .256 on the summer. Did have a hit in yesterday's All-Star game. The 1-1. Line foul. Right over, hit over top of the Chinook dugout. So Bass falls behind 1-2. Here's the 1-2. Chopped over towards short. Bisonet will field it. Gets it over to Jake Scudder at first in time. Out number 1.
Now batting for your Chinooks, number 5, the left fielder, Mason Mallard.
Mason Mallard now up to the plate. 1 down bottom of the first inning here in Chugiak. First pitch to Mason. Up high, ball 1. Mallard, another one of the Chinooks in the All-Star game yesterday, went 0 for 2. The 1-0 chopped over towards third. A.J. Lee's in the front of it. He'll get that over to Jake Scudder first in time. Out number 2.
At the plate for your Chinooks, number 22, the right fielder, Hunter Vansaw.
Hunter Vansaw up to the plate, 2 down. Bottom of the first inning, 0-0 between the Miners and the Chinooks. First pitch to Vansaw. Hit on the ground towards short. Bisonet will get to it. And gets it over to Scudder at first in time. Out number 3. A quick 1-2-3 inning for Kolek. Only 7 pitches to get out of the bottom of the first inning. Still no score on the board here in Shugiak. Welcome back to the top of the second inning here at Lee Jordan Field, 0-0 between the Chinooks and the Miners. First pitch to Michael Donadio will miss down low, ball 1. It'll be Donadio, Schwartz, Armenta coming up for the Miners in this half of the second. The 1-0. Down and outside, ball 2. Cody White on the hill starting his second inning of work for the Chinooks. Here's the 2-0. Hit on the ground towards second. Will Bass in front of it. And he'll underhand that to Ethan Whisker at first in time. Out number 1.
Number 18, the right fielder, Garrison Schwartz.
I'll bring Garrison Schwartz to the plate. No runs on the board just yet. Just 1 down. First pitch to Schwartz. Inside, called strike 1. Schwartz yesterday in the All-Star game went 3 for 5. Was one of a couple guys that got to play the whole game. The 0-1's going to miss for ball 1. Schwartz, the sophomore from Grand Canyon, has batters over to 286. Schwartz will that one out towards center field. Zach Sanford going back, and he'll make the catch for out number 2. Two down here in the top of the second. Angelo Armenta up to the plate. First pitch to Armenta. Down and outside, ball 1. Armenta, the switch hitter, will bat lefty against the righty Cody White. The 1-0. In there, called strike 1. 1 on the count to Armenta. Armenta getting the start at second base today in place of Levi Jordan, who has gotten the day off. The 1-1 will miss low, ball 2. Two on the count to Armenta. The 2-1. Chopped over first base side off the glove of Whisker. And he'll run over to that ball without a play. So Armenta will be safe on the air. That'll bring Jacob Huey to the plate. the DH today for the Miners. First pitch to Huey. In there, called strike one. Huey got to be a two-way player in yesterday's All-Star game. He pitched an inning and also came back later into the game as a DH. And with the All-Star game, they don't particularly care as much about positions, just about getting guys different opportunities. And Huey in that spot came in and hit a home run. And he was named MVP of the All-Star game. White will go over to first to check on Armenta. He'll get back in time. Armenta with one stolen base on the summer. It's an 0-1 count to Jacob Huey. The 0-1. That's fouled out of play. On to the count to Huey. A runner at first base and Angelo Armenta. Huey, the freshman from Long Beach State. White will check in Armenta at first. He'll dive back safely. On to the count to Jacob Huey. White will check out Armenta once again. Here's the 0-2. Hit on the ground. Alvarez will stay in front of it. He'll flip it over to Will Bass in time for the final out of the inning. So that'll do it for the top of the second inning. And still no score on the board just yet between the Chinooks and the Miners. Welcome back. Bottom of the second inning here at Lee Jordan Field. No score on the board between the Miners and the Chinooks. First pitch to Tim Millard in there for a called strike one. After Tim Millard, it would be Aaron Shackelford and Ethan Whisker coming to the plate. Here's the 0-1. Down low, ball one. One on the count to Tim Millard. Here's the 1-1. Down low, ball two. Millard hitting .226 on the summer. The 2-1. Chopped foul. As that one hit off him before it went into fair territory. Two and two, the count to Tim Millard. Millard was able to advance to the second round of the home run derby yesterday. The 2-2. Got him looking, called strike 3. Pitch, it looked a little down and inside to my taste, but that's going to set down Millard as out number 1.
At the plate for your Chinooks, number 8, the designated hitter, Aaron Shackelford.
First pitch to Aaron Shackelford in there, called strike 1. Here's the 0-1. Up and outside for ball 1. Shackelford got to start yesterday at third base in the All-Star game, position he has not played with the Chinooks. Next one, he'll foul out of play.
That's all ball sponsored by Edward Jones Financial Investments in Gavin Reed.
1-2 the count to Shackelford. The 1-2. Pops that one out left field. That one's going to drop harmlessly foul. Count remains 1-2 to Aaron Shackelford. Here's the 1-2. Breaking pitch will stay up high, ball 2. Shackelford plays his ball at the Masters College, hit just under 300 as a freshman. The 2-2. Down low, ball 3. That'll make it a full count. 3 balls, 2 strikes to Shackelford. The 3-2. Hits that one off right side. That'll go foul. The count remains full at 3 balls, 2 strikes, 1 down, bottom of the second inning. The 3-2. Hit on the ground, past the diving Jake Scudder. That'll get into right field for a base hit for Shackelford. So Shack will be the first Chinook base runner of today's contest.
Now batting the for your Chinooks, number 25, the first baseman, Ethan Whisker.
Ethan Whisker up to the plate with 1 down here in the bottom of the second inning. No score on the board yet between the Miners and the Chinooks. First pitch to Whisker. Softly hit foul on the left side. Whisker also made it to the second round of the home run derby yesterday. Both he and Millard failed to make the final. And that'll be called a balk on Kolick. So I'll advance Shack over to second. So it couldn't have been more than a wince there that time from Kolick to be called for the balk. That was called right away by Marcus Dolan, the home plate umpire. Owen won the count to Ethan Whisker and Shackelford over to second. Here's the 0-1. Swing and a miss. Whisker chased that pitch. That was a little low. Will fall behind. No balls to 2 strikes. 0-2 the count to Ethan Whisker. Here's the 0-2. Breaking pitch, he'll take that out towards left center field. Brought in by Stotler for out number 2.
Coming to the plate for your Chinooks, number 12, the shortstop, Isaac Alvarez.
Isaac Alvarez coming up to the plate with 2 down here in the bottom of the second inning. Aaron Shackelford still over at second. First pitch to Alvarez down in the turf, ball 1. Alvarez, the right-handed hitter, plays at Chandler Gilbert Community College. And that's a coach where Miners head coach Ben Taylor coaches. He's the associate coach there. The 1-0. Inside, ball 2 to Alvarez. Alvarez hitting 143 on the summer. The 2-0. Foul tips that one back. 2-1 the count to Alvarez. The 2-1. That'll be fouled right back. 2 balls, 2 strikes to count to Alvarez. It's getting a start at shortstop today. The 2-2. Swing and a miss. Alvarez goes down on strikes. That'll do it for the bottom of the second. Shackelford gets on with a single, but he will be stranded after 2 here in Chugiak. No score on the board between the Chinooks and the Miners. We'll be right back. First pitch to Zach Sharpley. In there, called strike 1 as we're underway here to start the 3rd inning here in downtown Chugiak. I'm Lance Morris, bringing you the play-by-play action of your Chinooks. The 0-1. Inside, ball 1. After Zach Sharpley, it'll be Brooks Stotler. The match at the top of the order for Josh Bizanet. The 1-1. Line right past a diving Isaac Alvarez. That'll get into left field for a base hit from Sharpley. Sharpley's on with a leadoff single. That'll bring Brooks Stotler to the plate.
Number 24, the center fielder, Brooks Stotler.
Brooks Stotler up to the plate. Nobody down, top of the third. Well, show bunt pulls it back. That's ball one. Stotler, another guy from Long Beach State, will pull the bunt attempt back. That's ball two. Stotler hitting .242 on the summer with 8 RBIs. The 2-0. Lays down the bunt right side. That's what field it. Tries the glove flip. He was safe at first anyway on the glove flip. So to put runners at first and second with nobody down. Brings us back to the top of the order and Josh Bissonette.
Number 6, the shortstop, John.
Bissonette grounded out to his first time up today. Runners at first and second for the Miners, nobody down. Bissonette shows bunt, pulls it back. That's ball one. Corners of the infield playing in, anticipating a potential bunt from Bissonette. The 1-0. Tried to bunt, and that'll come in and nail him right in the chest. And that will say he pulled that back, and he will be hit by the pitch. So now Ben Taylor going to go and check on Bissonette, make sure he's okay. And you could hear the thud right here from the press box to where that hit Bissonette, again, right in the chest. So now Coach John Groth's going to come out and talk to Marcus Dolan about that call. Because we did see Bissonette show bunt and then went to pull it back right as the ball was coming in to hit him. So A.J. Lee up to the plate. Nobody down. Top of the third inning. Still no score on the board, but the Miners threatening. First pitch to A.J. Lee. In there, called strike one. Lee flew out to left field his first time up. Here's the 0-1. Down low for ball one. A.J. Lee, the freshman from the University of Maryland. The 1-1. Launches that out to left field. That'll drop in for a base hit. And Mallard will misplay that, and it'll land all the way on the wall. So they will bring in 2 runs to score on that. So a 2 RBI double for A.J. Lee puts the Miners up 2-0. That brings Jake Scudder up to the plate. Still nobody down. Top of the third inning. Miners just took a 2-0 lead.
Now batting number 27 for the Miners.
First pitch to Jake Scudder. Down low, ball one.
That is Justin Grenier batting for the Miners.
Want to know the count to Jake Scudder. Runners at second and third. Bisonet at third, AJ Lee at second. The 1-0. Just outside, ball two. 2-0 the count to Jake Scudder. Grounded out to second, his first time up today. The 2-0. Hit on the ground. First base side, just foul. Whisker still made a nice diving effort on it.
That is 25 batting for the Miners. Number 22, that is Jake Scudder.
Two and one the count to Jake Scudder, the first baseman from Kansas State. The 2-1. In there called strike two. Two balls, two strikes, the count to Scudder. The 2-2. Hit on the ground towards second. Bassel field, it looks back at the runners. Goes to first in time for out number one. One down, top of the third inning here at Lee Jordan Field. Chinooks trailing the Miners by a 2-0 score. Michael Zanadio now up for the Miners. First pitch to him. Lined out towards center field. Zach Sanford going back. And he'll make the running grab for out number two. Does allow each runner to tag up. So nice defensive play from Sanford to catch that one. That does allow another run to score for the Miners. They'll take a 3-0 lead. Garrison Schwartz now to the plate for the Miners. Two down. The Miners have a 3-0 lead. First pitch to Schwartz. Up and away, ball one. Schwartz flew out to center his first time up. The 1-0. On the ground right side, it'll go foul. Schwartz, the outfielder from Grand Canyon. The 1-1. Called strike two on the inner half of the plate. So that'll fall behind 1-2 now. Here's the 1-2. Popped out left field. Mason Mallard going over. He'll make the grab for out number three. So that'll do it for the top of the third. But the Miners will put 3 runs on the board. They take the 3-0 lead as we head into the bottom of the third. Back we are, bottom of the third inning here at Lee Jordan Field. First pitch to Ben Hill, low ball. Stephen Kolick still on the hill for the Miners. The 1-0. Low again, ball 2. After Ben Hill, it'll be Zach Sanford and Will Bass coming to the plate. Here's the 2-0. Low again, ball 3. 3-0 the count to Hill. Here's the 3-0. And that'll miss low again, ball 4. So Hill will draw the walk on 4 straight pitches to bring up Zach Sanford. So Zach Sanford's up to the plate, nobody down. Bottom of the third, Chinooks trailing by a 3-0 score. First pitch to Sanford. Shows bunt, lays it down. Kolick will field it. Goes over to first base for the out. So the sacrifice bunt does work from Sanford, and he'll advance Hill from first to second. That brings Will Bass up to the plate as we go back to the top of the order. One in the bottom of the third. Bass grounded out to short his first time up. So Will Bass is up to the plate with 1 down. First pitch to Bass. Outside, ball 1. Bass, the second baseman, plays at Wayland Baptist University. Here's the 1-0. Hit on the ground towards second. Narmento will get that over to Scudder at first in time. Out number 2. But that also does advance Hill over to third. So Mason Mallard up to the plate with 2 down here in the bottom of the third. Chinooks down 3-0. They have a runner at third in Ben Hill. Here's the first pitch to Mason Mallard. Swinging and missing for strike 1. Mallard put on an impressive display in Game 1 of the showcase against the Oilers. Went 2 for 2 with an RBI single and a home run. Also stole a bunch of bases. The 0 missed down and outside, ball 1. The 1-1. Hit on the ground towards short. Bisonet will field it. But Scudder drops the ball over at first, so he will be safe. And that allows Ben Hill to come in and score the first run of the game for the Chinooks. They still trail by a 3-1 score. Two down here in the bottom of the third inning. Hunter Vansaw now coming up to the plate. And they'll check over at Mallard at first. He dives back in time. Mallard does lead the Chinooks in steals with 9. And also had a bunch in the showcase games that don't count in the official stat sheet. Mallard on the move this time on the first pitch. And he will be thrown out over at second. So that'll do it here for the bottom of the third as Mallard's caught stealing. So we will head to the top of the fourth inning. Chinooks trail by a score of 3-1. And welcome back on out here to Lee Jordan Field as we start the top of the fourth inning between the Matsu Miners and the Chugiak Eagle River Chinooks. The Chinooks trailing the Miners by a 3-1 score. And joining me again, we had him in the booth yesterday, one of the Miners broadcasters, Jordan Zwick. Jordan, how you doing today?
I'm doing good, Lance. How are you?
I'm doing pretty good, Jordan. The Miners took a 3-1 lead and off a guy that we talked about actually before the game started, A.J. Lee, off of a 2 RBI double from him.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, it's A.J. Lee's been struggling a little bit for the Miners team this year. He's been a guy who's been on the team all season long, the preliminary roster. But, you know, we've had a lot of injuries so far this season, and our roster's changed quite a bit. So he's been kind of getting squeezed out of his starting spot because, you know, there are people performing better than he is, quite frankly. And, you know, that's the game of baseball. But it's definitely nice to see A.J. Lee starting to get a swing going. Hopefully, well, for the Miners at least, hopefully it starts to become a little bit more consistent.
3-1 now, the count to Angelo Armenta getting the start today in place of Levi Jordan. So is it just a case of Levi needing an off day?
Yeah, you know, I would absolutely say that. You know, he played a couple games during the Scout Showcase, or 3 games. We had 3 games compared to your guys' 2. So us and the Bucks had the most during that time span. And, you know, Levi Jordan was also an all-star in yesterday's all-star festivities. And I would imagine it's just a necessary day off for him.
So Armenta reaches on a single out towards right field. That brings up Jacob Huey, who really became one of the big stars in the All-Star game, had that blast that was a big part of the game and was named the MVP.
Yeah, you know, it's nice to see Jacob Huey. And, you know, the team kind of jokes with him, saying that he leads the team in hitting. He's hitting like 400 this season, but I believe this will be his 4th conference game in which he's had a plate appearance. So he's definitely torn the cover off the ball so far. It's great to see him having the success yesterday. A great day for the Miners. Jacob Huey taking home the MVP honors and Cam Montgomery taking home the Home Run Derby championship award.
The 0-1 to Huey on this down low. 1-1 the count. Huey, like you mentioned, he's also a pitcher for the Miners. He comes from Long Beach State.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he's predominantly a pitcher, and in fact, Jacob Huey had 1 start at first base very early on in the season, in which he went 2 for 4 starting the year, and he had 2 doubles. So he was 2 for 4 with 2 doubles, and for a time that, you know, he was like second on the team through like 10 games in the doubles department. But yeah, recently we've seen him get a couple starts at DH. He's DHing here tonight, and he's definitely showing why he should be in the lineup when he's not on the mound.
The 2-1 lined into right field. That's going to drop in for another base hit. We'll see Armenta stop at second. So runners at first and second now. That'll bring Zach Sharpley up to the plate.
Zach Sharpley was a guy who got a base hit. There's a few guys that, like I was mentioning just a little bit ago, that there are a few guys here that, weren't necessarily on the preliminary Matthew Miners roster. Zach Sharpley, Angelo Armenta over at second base right now. These were guys who, we're kind of on a waiting list. We've had a couple injuries. Catcher Troy Squires, Jonah Garrison, one of our third basemen, had to leave because he's looking for a new school. But it's definitely nice to see Zach Sharpley.
So that was in there for a call to strike one to Sharpley. And then Hill tried to pick off Armenta over at second, throwing off of the glove of Alvarez, but it wasn't far enough for Armenta to advance from second, though.
The Miners like to play a lot of small ball. Anytime you see runners on first and second, nobody out, it's a pretty good shot that they're going to try to lay down a bunt. You saw that last inning in which one of the guys was hit by a pitch to load the bases.
And Alvarez will try to get the force out at third, not in time. So everybody's going to be safe. That'll once again load up the bases, this time for Brooks Stotler.
Yeah, Alvarez really only had one play. It was over there at third base, but Angelo Armenta did get his foot in. It was a good call by the third base umpire. Third base umpire James Taylor. This is actually the first time I've seen him this season. I was talking to my broadcast partner Dan Collins on the Matsu Miners radio network just before we went on air. We're like, yeah, who's that guy? We haven't really seen him, and I don't know why exactly.
The 1-0 from Stotler lined out to right field. Diving grab from Vansall makes the catch. Throw to the plate, though, not in time. So sacrifice fly from Stotler will put another run up for the Miners, and they will actually check to see if he tagged from third, and they will say he did tag from third correctly. So one down, Miners add on a run.
It was a good play there by Vansall out in right field. Unfortunately, he did have to leave his feet, and that kind of ended up costing. But if he doesn't do that, run would have scored anyways.
4-1 now, the score. Miners on top. They add on one here in the top of the fourth. We go back to the top of the order for Josh Bissonette. First pitch to Bissonette. Down low, ball one. Bissonette 0 for 1 today. Ground out his first time up and then was hit by a pitch back in the third. Here's the 1-0. Down low, ball two.
See, Josh Bissonette kind of struggled to begin the season, but I guess you could say that for just about any player, at least on the Miners. I'm not sure so much on the Chinooks offensively, but for him, he had a tough time getting used to the wood bat. This is a wood bat league, and, all the college players are used to aluminum bat.
2-0 popped out towards short right field. And it'll be Will Bass, the second baseman, going over to make the grab for out number 2.
But he's turned it around at least within the last 3 weeks. So he kind of had a rough start, both offensively and defensively. He had like 7 errors over at shortstop in like the first 9 games. So you got to think that had to mess with his head a little bit. He plays ball at Baylor University. He didn't start there last season, but he did get a couple starts. And now he is looking to get everyday at bats, which he is. He is our starting shortstop, but he is swinging the bat and playing defense really well since that first week of the season.
First pitch to AJ Lee, down and in, ball one. And you asked me if you really said you didn't know which guys for the Chinooks struggled to start the year, and really, I'd say a good chunk of guys to start the year. I know at one point Shackelford's average was down below 100 back before he was starting to really see the ball well. Alvarez will now go to short, from short to second for the force out. So that'll do it for the top half of inning number 4, and we'll take a quick break. We'll be right back here for the bottom of the 4th. And welcome back on out to Lee Jordan Field, bottom of the 4th inning. Chinooks trailing 4-1 to the Miners. Hunter Vansoff, first pitch swinging, but will be caught out in right field by Garrison Schwartz for out number 1. And alongside me still is Jordan Swick, one of the broadcasters for the Miners. So he decided to hop on over into our booth once again, and we appreciate him taking the time.
Absolutely. Me and my broadcast partner alternate during the play-by-play, and today I wouldn't necessarily say I wasn't feeling it, but I don't know, I love coming on here and I love broadcasting with you, Lance. I mean, we went to school together. We had a few games together actually, and it's always nice coming back here for some kind of mini reunion.
I think mini reunion is probably the best terminology we can use. 2-0 the count to Tim Millard, the 2-0. Chopped on the ground towards short. Bisognetto will field it. Gets it over to Scudder at first in time, out number 2.
There's been a lot of choppers here today to the left side of the infield. I know Josh Bissonnette had a couple before that. AJ Lee over at third base had one as well, but the Chinooks are not really making a lot of contact with the ball, and when they are, it's very little, and it's taking a pretty weird hop off the turf here today.
But the guy who has made good contact with the ball, Aaron Shackelford, now to the plate with 2 down. First pitch to him up and away at ball 1. Shackelford only Chinooks so far today with a single. We have seen a couple other guys get on base, though. He'll hit that back up the middle. That'll be fielded over at second by Armenta and gets it over to first in time for out number 3. So a really quick inning here in the bottom of the 4th from Kolek. Only needed a very limited amount of pitches. I'm counting 6 or 7 from him. So good outing from Kolek in the bottom of the 4th. So we'll take a quick break. We'll be back to start the top of the 5th here in just a moment. And back we are here to start the top of the 5th inning between the Matsu Miners and your Chugiak Eagle River Chinooks. First pitch to Jake Scudder in there, called strike one. I'm Lance Morris, still joined alongside one of the Miners broadcasters, Jordan Zwick, for a couple innings here in today's game. Chinooks will be playing the Miners both today and tomorrow right here at Lee Jordan Field. Scudder shows bunt but pulls it back. That's ball one. Can't imagine we see Scudder lay down a bunt too often.
No, it's a little weird. There's a lot of things you don't expect with Jake Scudder. He would steal a few bases too, and it's a little weird when that happens. But he intentionally tries to get into rundowns, and especially when he's on first base and there's a runner at third, especially when the offense is struggling to find a way to score, he will intentionally get himself into a rundown and try to get a runner to score from third base.
2-1 the count to Scudder. Here's the 2-1. Justin misses for ball 3. 3-1 the count. Cody White still on the hill for the Chinooks. As looks like we're just now going to see Nick Campy getting up and loose. Here comes the 3-1. And that one's long. Foul, right side play. So Nick Campy now is starting to throw out in the Chinook pen. But it's a full count, 3-2 strikes to Jason from Kansas State. Here's the 3-2. Pops that one back out of play.
You mentioned Jake Scudder from Kansas State. There's actually 3, I guess now 4 minors on this team from Kent State. One of the guys, one of the pitchers for us, Jordan Frederick, recently committed to Kansas State here today. And at the same time, we had to say goodbye to one of the Kansas State players, Josh Roulette, went to the airport today. He had an injury, and he's looking to rehab during his time and hopefully make it back to Kansas State in time for fall ball.
So that one's popped out in the shallow part of center field. Isaac Alvarez is the one to get under that for out number 1. That brings Michael Donadio up to the plate with a 1 down. Chinooks trailing the Miners by a 4-1 score. First one's a Donadio. Way outside as that one hits the fence right in front of us. So, Jordan, what are some things that we should know about Michael Donadio?
Well, Michael Donadio, he plays left field for us, but he also gets to start a designated hitter. And Donadio just has quick hands up at the plate. And, last inning, he also hit one to center field, almost got down. But I guess you could say he's been robbed a couple times here today. He did get a sacrifice fly in his last plate appearance. Michael Donadio has been a good addition for this team. However, he does play ball at St. John's, but he's one of the new additions to this ball club, along with Brooks Stotler, Andy Cosgrove, Zach Sharpley. There's a number of players on this team who have stepped up where needed.
So 2 down after the flyout from Donadio brings Garrison Schwartz up to the plate. He'll ground that one towards second base. Will Bass will field it. Gets it over to Ethan Whisker at first in time. Out number 3. So that'll do it for the top of the 5th inning. 1-2-3 inning from Cody White. Chinooks still trailing by a 4-1 score. And welcome back on out to Lee Jordan Field. First pitch to Ethan Whisker, lined out towards center field, and that's going to go down for a base hit. Whisker's going to round first, heads for second. So a stand-up double from Ethan Whisker to start the bottom of the fifth inning, his 7th double of the summer.
You know, I always mention on the Matthew Miners broadcast that it's always very important for the leadoff man to reach base because it is the best opportunity for the offensive team in order to score. So the Chinooks getting a leadoff double here. It's a good start to the inning, but they're currently trailing the Miners right now by 3. 4-1 is the score here at Lee Jordan Field. Definitely looking to capitalize and at least try to tie this game up.
So Whiskers over at second. Isaac Alvarez up to the plate. Shows bunt, lays it down. Perfect bunt on the right side. And they will call Alvarez out over at first. Looks like he might have beaten that one out, but either way, close play, so it'll just go down as a sacrifice bunt instead of a bunt hit single. Still advances Whisker to third.
Yeah, it was a tremendous bunt there, and, you know, I thought he might have beaten that out just like you did, Lance, but apparently Tim Davis, the first base umpire, disagrees with us, and you know, it was a great bunt nonetheless because it was a tough play for Miners catcher Zach Sharpley because he had to come up the line and make a throw because if he would have just picked it up and thrown it right there, it would have hit the runner and he would have been safe by default.
Ben Hills now to the plate with one down. First pitch to him in there called strike one. Ben Hill, the catcher from Olivet Nazarene. Ethan Whisker, the man at third with one down. Hill will try to show down the bunt, but now Whisker is going to get caught in a rundown. And the ball is going to go off of Whisker, it looks like, so he will get out of the rundown safely. Chinooks tack on a run. They still trail 4-2.
It looked like they tried the squeeze play there, but it actually ended up working for the Chinooks. Stephen Kolick was the guy trying to catch that ball in the baseline, and I knew right away that since nobody was at home plate, that would have been a really tough play because he had to make the catch and tag at just about the same time. But nonetheless, the Chinooks do score an important run here as they've now cut the deficit in half.
So it's an 0-2 count now to Hill, and he'll go down swinging. So that's now out number 2. So that brings Zach Stanford up to the plate. 2 down, 4-2 your score. The Chinooks trail the Miners. First pitch to Sanford's going to miss for ball 1. Sanford is another one of those guys for the Chinooks that took a little while to get going. Didn't get his first hit until Father's Day, actually. The next one will miss down and outside for ball 2. And Sanford got his first hit in a big way. It was a home run off of one of the light poles out there at Mulcahy Stadium.
Yeah, Mulcahy Stadium, definitely a big ballpark, especially to hit that one out of the ballpark it is. But it looks like he is playing better now ever since Father's Day, so that's definitely a good sign to see for the Chinooks.
3-0 the count now to Sanford. Plays at Glenville State College in Glenville, West Virginia. The 3-0. Down low, ball 4. So another 4-pitch walk from Kolick. This time it'll be to Zach Sanford. Now we go back to the top of the order for Will Bass.
We don't usually see a lot of 4-pitch walks issued by Stephen Kolick. He's an arm over at Texas A&M, and in case you don't know, Texas A&M in baseball, they have a really good team. They're notorious for their pitching, and not just the pitching, but all the players they have there. In fact, they had the most players drafted this past year from college. So Texas A&M definitely doing a good job there.
Pitch out ready this time on the attempted steal from Sanford, and he will be thrown out. Only the second time this season Zach Sanford has been caught stealing. So that'll do it for the bottom of the fifth. But the Chinooks do add on a run. They trail 4-2 to the Matsu Miners. And back we are from Lee Jordan Field. Let's start at the top of the sixth inning between the Matsu Miners and your Chugiak Eagle River Chinooks. Chinooks trailing by a score of 4-2. Thank you for joining us. I'm Lance Morris, joined alongside Miners broadcaster Jordan Zwick. First pitch to Angelo Armenta, down low, ball one. And Jordan Armenta, one of the later rivals, as you said, came to the team later on in the summer.
Yeah, Angelo Armenta, one of the guys that came up for Jonah Garrison. Garrison, I mentioned earlier on in the broadcast, he was looking for a new school, so he had to try out for some junior colleges and pretty good junior colleges too. He played at University of South Florida along with Cam Montgomery of the Miners right now. But yeah, Angelo Armenta has done a good job ever since coming up. He's been one of the bigger acquisitions for this club to date.
So Armenta will fly out to Will Bass for out number one. That brings up a guy we've already talked a lot about, Jacob Huey, the freshman from Long Beach State, who was the MVP of the Alaska Baseball League All-Star Game. I'm sure that's something he's looking forward to putting on his resume.
Yeah, he seemed very surprised by it yesterday. It's like he didn't really expect it. Honestly, I kind of didn't either, but it kind of makes sense looking back at it, hitting that important home run in the eighth inning, I believe it was. And then he also brought home the winning run. He grounded into a double play, but that runner from third ended up scoring. So 2 important runs scored off the bat of Jacob Huey. So I guess it's a good honor for him, and it's definitely something he can put on his resume as he looks to play professional ball down the road.
Here's the 0-2. Down low, ball one. 1-2 the count to Huey. Here's the 1-2. Upstairs, ball two. 2-2 the count. So Huey, a guy that we've seen a lot more lately in the lineup. Do you know have any idea when the next time he'll be on the mound is?
I got to think it's in the next couple days. It could be tomorrow, but considering that our skipper Ben Taylor is, kind of try to keep the All-Stars. Once he figured out who the All-Stars were on this team, he kind of, scratched them all from their starts and, had one of our pitchers, Gage O'Brien, make a spot start, Jordan Frederick, a guy make a spot start as well. So it could honestly be anybody from this time, but no, I have no official word on who tomorrow's starter or a starter down the road may be.
Yeah, it's kind of how our pitching staff went, especially once we had scout showcase games and then a lot of pitchers in the All-Star game. Still not entirely sure who's going to start tomorrow as well either. So the pitch to Huey will miss for ball 4, so we'll see a walk given up by Cody White. That's the first walk we've seen given up by him today.
It's a little easier once teams play back-to-back games, and you got a long stretch of the season to go because there's pretty much a separation at that point. But now just coming back after the All-Star break and everything, any team can pretty much shake up the roster in any way, shape, or form.
First pitch to Zach Sharpley is going to be low for ball one. Sharpley, the catcher for the Miners today, comes from USC, and another one of those guys that arrived late to the team.
Yeah, absolutely. He plays ball with Angel Armenta both at USC. Sharpley, we were told Sharpley was supposed to be an extra catcher, maybe like a bullpen catcher. He might play a few times, but with our catcher Josh Roulette injuring his hand and his elbow, and it definitely wasn't good for Roulette to be playing as much. So he actually earns the job as backup catcher here, and he's a pretty solid backup catcher. I wouldn't mind actually seeing him get a little bit more starting time, maybe kind of platoon him and Andy Cosgrove, who also made the All-Star team.
So it's a 1-1 count to Sharpley as they will check on Huey over at first. 1-1 count with one down, top of the sixth inning. Chinooks trailing 4-2. Next one inside, ball two. 2-1 the count. Sharpley hitting .222 on the summer, as Jordan said, in limited action. The 2-1. A runner on the move. White will field it. Doesn't have a chance to go to second. So he'll just go to first for the force out for out number 2.
And you see, that's why it's important to start the runner there, because that's a routine double play if Jacob Huey is not off on that pitch. But Miners skipper and third base coach Ben Taylor opting to have the steal sign on there, and it avoids the double play. So now the Miners do have a runner in scoring position, looking to maybe add an insurance run a little bit here in the middle of the game with 2 outs.
It brings Brooks Stotler to the plate with 2 down. First pitch to Stotler. Hit on the ground. Alvarez will field it from short. Goes over to first in time for the final out of the inning. So we'll see a runner get on in Huey by drawing a walk, but he'll be left stranded. And after the top of the 6th, Chinooks still trail by a 4-2 score to the Miners. And welcome to the 6th inning in downtown Chugiak. Will Bass is going to try the drag bunt, and he's going to do it successfully because no one's over there to cover first. Perfectly executed drag bunt from Will Bass to start the bottom of the 6th.
I'm a big fan of bunting for a base hit, especially if you have a guy up at the plate can do that consistently. The Miners have a guy named Brooks Stotler who can do that, and I love when batters decide to bunt towards first base because it makes it a tough play. Obviously, it's the closer play to first base, but if you can bunt it in the right spot, it's going to be a tough play, and you only have a little bit of time to communicate with your fielders. As you saw, Jake Scudder, the first baseman for the Miners, trying to make the play, and because of that, Stephen Cole was also going for the ball. So nobody covering first base. Angel Armenta, I don't think, was anywhere near the bag, the second baseman. So that's a play where he should have been covering the bag. But overall, a good bunt there by the leadoff man, Will Bass.
So Will Bass is on over at first. Nobody down. Bottom of the 6th inning. Chinooks trailing 4-2. Mason Mallard now up to the plate. And they'll check on Bass over at first. He'll dive back in time. As we said, Stephen Kolick still on the mound for the Miners. Haven't really seen any movement in their bullpen. They'll check again at Bass.
No,
Dives back in time.
I'm expecting Kolick to make somewhere near 100 pitches. I'm not quite sure where his pitch count is right now, but I'm sure it's right around the 65, 70. So I think he definitely has at least another inning after this one, and that's provided he doesn't get into any trouble.
Mallard's going to try a bunt of his own, but that'll go foul. So Mallard down on the count, 0-1. Hunter Vansaw waiting on deck. Mallard played at Tyler Junior College this past year, as they'll check on Bass again at first. Played at Tyler Junior College, won a national title, hit just under 400 this past season. He'll be going to Louisiana Tech starting in the fall. Count remains 0-1 to Mason. Here's the 0-1. He'll show the bunt. That's a little inside. Still lays it down. And Mallard will be just out by about a step or two over at first. So the sacrifice bunt will work as that advances Bass from first to second.
Not the prettiest sack bunt ever by Mallard, but, it does get the job done. He showed bunt, and Kolick's pitch ran inside on him. And instead of pulling back, he decided to put the bat to the ball, and it was a pretty good bunt considering the fact that that's not where he really wanted to place it.
One down here in the bottom of the 6th inning. Chinooks down 4-2 to the Miners. Will Bass, the runner at second. And Kolick's going to step off and look Bass back over at second. Hunter Vansaw, the hitter for the Chinooks. He's 0 for 2 today with a ground out and a flyout. First pitch to Vansaw. Swing and a miss for strike one. Vansaw started his career at Dallas Baptist, was initially redshirted, and told he probably wouldn't get too many at-bats, so he decided to transfer to a junior college. And they'll step off and look Bass back over at second.
Some people might not be a fan of, going to junior college after going to, a bigger college. But, the scouts will find you just have to play well. And if you can play well, you will definitely get scouts' attention.
Vansaw grounds down to third, but that'll go just foul, so he'll fall behind 0-2. He hit 378 at Northeast Texas Community College. Played there was fellow Chinook Brady Batten. Hit 11 doubles, 3 triples, 5 home runs, 40 RBIs, and he'll be taking his talents to Mississippi State in Starkville starting in the fall. Here's the 0-2. Outside ball 1.
Mississippi State, not a bad school by any means. They play in the SEC, and I believe they did make regionals. Mississippi State did. I forget who they fell to, but they have a good baseball team down there at Mississippi State.
The 1-2. Outside ball 2 makes it 2-2 to Vansaw. And Vansaw continues to lead the Chinooks in average, which he's been doing just about all summer long. He's hitting .330 and has been in the game just about every second. Has only came out of one game midway through. Here's the 2-2. Chops that one back foul. Count remains 2-2 to Hunter Vansall. Will Bass, the runner at second.
Kolek here with 61 pitches right now, so he probably has a couple more innings to go if he, can keep his pitch count low.
The 2-2 will miss upstairs. Ball 3. 3-2. The count now to Vansall.
And this is an important at-bat here for Vansall, but it's also very important for Stephen Kolek. You do not want him to reach base. Millard on deck, who can make you pay.
So that one goes foul off the bat of Vansall. Count remains full at 3-2. Some other numbers on Vansall. 4 doubles, 2 triples, 1 home run. That home run was a grand slam down in Kenai. Also leads the team in walks, has drawn 21 walks. Bass with his lead over at second. Now Kolek will step off and look him back. Now he wants to have a quick chat with Sharpley as well. So we thank you for joining us here on the Chinook Radio Network. I'm Lance Morris. Joined alongside me for the remainder of this inning is Jordan Zwick, one of the broadcasters for the Mat-Su Miners, our opponent for today.
But we're always friends, so maybe a little bit of enemies during our head-to-head competition between our teams here, but we always have a friendly conversation.
3-2 for Vansall. It's going to be fouled out of play. So Vansall doing a good job staying alive in this at-bat. Count remains 3-2 to Vansall. Will Bass is the runner at second. 1 down, bottom of the 6th. Chinooks trail 4-2. Swing and miss from Vansall. He'll go down on strikes after fighting off pitch after pitch. That's out number 2 here in the bottom of the 6th.
That's the 4th strikeout issued by Stephen Kolek. And, I mentioned that was an important hitter that he wanted to retire. Vansall, one of the best in the league in terms of batting average, hitting, I think, 320, 330, somewhere. I believe that is leading the league still, the last time I checked. But it's a very important hitter. But, he still has to go at Millard here. He's had himself a pretty good season as well, as he was an all-star guy.
So that brings Tim Millard up to the plate, 2 down here in the bottom of the 6th. Millard on the day 0 for 2 with a strikeout and a ground out. And Kolek will step off and look back. Bass. That had a long day yesterday. It was in the home run derby and the second round of the derby. First pitch to him. Swing and a miss for strike 1.
Looks like he was sitting on a fastball there. It was ahead of the pitch thrown by Stephen Kolek. But if he had a fastball, it would have leave the ballpark.
On the count to Tim Millard, the redshirt sophomore from Dallas Baptist. The 0-1 is going to be popped back foul. So Millard's going to fall behind 0-2. So Millard's up to the plate with an 0-2 count. Aaron Shackelford waiting on deck. Bass with a second. Here's the 0-2. Swing and a miss. And Millard will officially go down on strike. He thought he tipped that, but No dice, says Marcus Dolan. So that'll do it for the bottom of the sixth. This also means our farewell to Jordan. Jordan, thanks for taking the time.
Absolutely, Lance. Thanks for having me on.
And we'll be right back here on the Chinook Radio Network. Welcome back on out to Lee Jordan Field, starting the top of the seventh inning between the Chinooks and the Miners. First pitch, Josh Bisonet in there, called strike one. New pitcher on the hill for the Chinooks. It'll be Nick Campy taking the place of Cody White. Here's the 0-1. Inside, ball one. 1-1 the count to Bisonet. Some numbers on Nick Campy. This will be his 11th official appearance. He pitched an inning in the Scout Showcase game on Saturday. The 1-1 popped out towards right field. And it'll be Hunter Vansaw getting under that one for out number one. One down, top of the seventh brings A.J. Lee up to the plate from the Miners. More numbers on Campy. 26 in the third innings pitched, 17 strikeouts to 11 walks, 7.52 ERA. AJ Lee's up to the plate. Had a 2 RBI double back in the third. First pitch to him will miss for ball one. Lee, the freshman from Maryland. The 1-0 in there, called strike one. 1-1 the count to Lee, the third baseman for the Miners. Jake Scudder waiting on deck.
And that's all sponsored by the Chinooks.
1-2 the count to A.J. Lee. The 1-2. Fastball upstairs, ball two. Two down, top of the seventh. The 2-2. That's launched out towards left field. That'll drop just foul. Count remains 2-2 to Lee. AJ Lee hitting 175 on the summer. 2 doubles, 1 home run. The 2-2. Upstairs, ball 3. Full count, 3 balls, 2 strikes to AJ Lee. The pitch will just miss for ball 4. So AJ Lee will draw the walk.
Number 22, the first baseman, Jake Scudder.
Jake Scudder up to the plate, 1 down, top of the 7th inning here in downtown Chugiak. Scudder 0 for 3 so far today. A couple groundouts and a flyout. First pitch to him. Popped up left side. Alvarez going over. He'll make the grab for out number 2. Two down, top of the 7th inning. Chinooks down 4-2. Michael Donadio up to the plate now for the Matsu Miners with 2 down. They have runner at first at AJ Lee, and Ben Hill will call for time. First pitch to Donadio. Pitch out, they'll check on Lee now at first. He'll dive back in time. Donadio on the day, 0 for 2, had a sac fly in the 3rd. The 1-0. Upstairs, ball 2. Two 2-0 the count to Michael Donadio, the outfielder from St. John's. The 2-0. Misses inside, ball 3. Three 3-0 the count to Donadio. AJ Lee gets his lead from first. That pitch will be in there for a called strike 1 to Donadio. Three and 1 the count to Donadio. Here's the 3-1. Drop on the ground towards second. Wilbass will field it. Only has enough time to go over to first for the out, but that's all he needed because that's out number 3. So that'll do it here for the top of the 7th. And the Chinooks still trailing this one by a score of 4-2. First pitch to Aaron Shackelford in there, called strike one, and we're underway here in the bottom of the seventh. Stephen Kolick still on the hill for the Miners. Here's the 0-1. Swing and a miss. Shaq falls behind 0-2. After Shaq, it'll be Ethan Whisker and Isaac Alvarez coming out to the plate. Chinooks down by a score of 4-2. Here's the 0-2. Down and outside, ball one. Shaq 1 for 2 on the day, had a single in the second, grounded out in the fourth. The 1-2. Hit on the ground towards second. Armenta unable to get to that. That'll be another single from Shackelford, his second on the day. So Shackelford on with a leadoff single to start the bottom of the seventh.
Batting for your Chinooks, number 25, the first baseman, Ethan Whisker.
Ethan Whisker up to the plate, nobody down, bottom of the seventh inning. First pitch to Whisker. Misses inside for ball one. Whisker 1 for 2 today, had a double in the fifth and came around to score after forcing himself into a rundown. The 1-0. Popped up right side. That'll get out of play. One and one the count to Whisker. Whisker plays his ball at Hillsdale College. The 1-1. Chopped on the ground over towards third. Lee will go to second for one. Not in time over at first. Whisker safe on the fielder's choice. So that brings Isaac Alvarez up to the plate with one down in the bottom of the seventh inning.
Batting for your Chinooks, number 12, the shortstop, Isaac Alvarez.
So Alvarez up to the plate. He's 0 for 1 with a strikeout and a sacrifice bunt. Alvarez hits down on the ground hard towards short, over to second for one. Back over to first in time. 6-4-3 double play will end the bottom of the seventh. Chinooks still trail by a score of 4-2. Welcome back as we're starting the top of the eighth inning here. Jordan Field, Garrison Schwartz leading things off for the Miners. First pitch to him, called strike one on the outer half of the plate. It can't be stolen the hill for the Chinooks. Came in last inning in relief of Cody White. The 0-1. Schwartz thinks about that one, but he'll hold off. Evens the count at 1-1. After Schwartz, it'll be Angelo Armenta and Jacob Huey. The 1-1. Outside ball 2. 2-1 the count to Garrison Schwartz, the sophomore from Grand Canyon. The 2-1. Outside ball 3. 3-1 the count to Schwartz. Here's the 3-1. Popped up left side. Mallard running in. He'll make the grab for out number 1.
Number 4, the second baseman, Angelo Armenta.
Angelo Armenta up to the plate, 1 down, top of the 8th inning. Chinooks down 4-2. First pitch to Armenta in there, called strike 1 on the inner half of the plate. Armenta, the switch hitter, bat lefty against the righty, Campy. The 0-1 will miss just outside, ball 1. Armenta Ingleworth. The 1-1. That one's fouled back. It'll get out of play.
Foul ball sponsored by Lakers Local 341.
1-2 the count to Angelo Armenta, the infielder from USC. The 1-2. Outside ball 2. Count even once again, 2 balls, 2 strikes to Armenta. The 2-2. Heading around towards second. Willbass somehow gets to that and gets it over to first in time, out number 2.
Number 17, the designated hitter, Jacob Huey.
Jacob Huey now up to the plate, 2 down, top of the 8th inning, trailing the Miners by a score of 4-2. First pitch to Huey, shows the bunt, pulls it back. That's ball 1. Huey had a single back in the 4th inning. The 1-0. This is just low, ball 2. Huey, the freshman out of Long Beach State. The 2-0. And they're called strike 1. Two on the count to Huey. Here's the 2-1. That one's popped out towards left field. It'll be Mason Mallard getting into that one for the final out of the inning. So we're down 1-2-3. Chinooks still trailing by a score of 4-2. Welcome back to the bottom of the 8th inning here in downtown Chugiak. Pinch hitter up to the plate for your Chinooks. Greg Populus will be hitting for Ben Hill. First pitch to Greg. And called strike one. So after Greg, it'll be Zach Sanford, then back to the top of the order for Will Bass. Stephen Kulik still on the hill for the Miners. The 0-1 is going to be fouled off left side. So 0-2 the count to Greg Listen. Coming in as a pinch hitter, Ben Hill. So either Greg's in there to pinch hit and he will come in and play the field, or he will just pinch hit and Spencer Lindinger will take his here two. Swing and a miss. And Greg will go down on strikes here in the bottom half of the 8th.
At the plate, for your Chinooks, number 11, the center fielder, Zach Sanford.
So Zach Sanford up to the plate. One down, bottom half of the 8th. A couple guys getting loose in the Miners bullpen. One of them is Jordan Floyd. Can't tell who the other one is. First one to Sanford, put away ball one. Sanford still yet to record an official plate appearance. And that'll miss for ball two. Sanford had a sacrifice his first time up and then drew a walk. He was then caught stealing. Here's the 2-0. Now it's popped out left side. And Donadio will get under that one for out number 2. Will Bass now up to the plate, 2 down, bottom of the 8th inning. Chinooks down 4-2. First one to Will Bass will miss low, ball one. Will want to sit Schwartz for the final out of the inning. Led to the top of the 9th, Chinooks down by a score of 4-2. Welcome back on out here to lead Jordan Field. Starting the top of the 9th inning, Chinooks down by a score of 4-2. It'll be Zach Sharpley up to the plate for the Miners. That'll be first pitch swing, and that's fouled back. After Sharpley, it'll be Brooks Stotler, the match at the top of the order for Josh Bissonette. Here's the 0-1. In there called strike 2. And so Spencer Lininger will come into the game replacing the pinch hitter Greg Populison, who replaced the previous catcher Ben Hill. Here's the 0-2. Waste pitch to the outside for ball 1. Sharpley had a single back in the 3rd inning. The 1-2. The line had to get out of play. Here's the 1-2. And that one's squared up into left field for a base hit from Sharpley. So Sharpley's on the top half of the 9th.
Number 24, the center fielder, Brooks Stotler.
Nobody down top of the 9th inning. Chinooks down by a 4-2 score as they're attempting to keep the Miners in check before it's their turn to come hit in the bottom of the 9th. First pitch to Brooks Stotler. Shows bunt, lays it down, but that'll go foul. Stotler, the lefty, plays at Long Beach State. Here's the 0-1. Joe's bunt pulls it back. That's ball 1. One and one the count to Stotler. A runner at first in Zach Sharp. This time he will lay down the bunt down the first base line. Campy will try to glove flip it, but that goes way over the head of Ethan Whisker. So that'll put runners at 2nd and 3rd with nobody down. That brings Josh Bissonette up to the plate. So Bissonette up to the plate. Now Campy wants to have a quick word with Lininger, the catcher. We thank you for joining us here from Lee Jordan Field. Chinooks trailing by a score of 4-2. And the Miners have runners at 2nd and 3rd with nobody down. First pitch to Bissonette. Misses for ball 1. Bissonette plays his ball at Baylor. The 1-0. Just outside, ball 2. 2-0 the count to Bissonette. Here's the 2-0. That one's lined into center field. That drops in for a base hit, and that'll pop off of Zanford's glove. The throw into the plate, and Lininger will try to go to 2nd, not in time. So that'll bring in a run. So the Miners will take a 5-2 lead.
Number 5, the third baseman, AJ Lee.
So still nobody down here in the top of the 9th. Chinooks now down 5-2. First pitch to Lee. Inside, ball 1. Lee had a 2 RBI double back in the 3rd. Last time up, he drew a walk. The 1-0. Checks his swing. That's outside, ball 2. And now Chris Beck going to go have a word with Nick Campy on the mound. Currently a 2-0 count to A.J. Lee, the Miners' third baseman. So we thank you for joining us here on the Chinook Radio Network. Chinooks are down 5-2. And so we're going to stick with Campy. Count remains 2-0 to A.J. Lee. The Miners have runners on second and third. Still have nobody down. Here's the 2-0. Stairs ball 3. So it's 3-0 count to A.J. Lee. Here's the 3-0. And they're called strike 1. Three and 1 the count. Nobody down. Runners at second and third. Miners on top over your Chinooks 5-2. The 3-1. Swing and a miss. How to make it a full count. 3 balls and 2 strikes to A.J. Lee. Here's the 3-2. Lined right side. That'll get out of play.
And that ball is punctured by the short check.
Count remains full. 3-2 to A.J. Lee, the Miners' third baseman. Here's the 3-2. Fouls that one back. Looks like he also fouled that one off of his knee. So the count remains full as Lee tries to walk it off. Three into the count to A.J. Lee. The 3-2. That one's popped up. But Lininger will run out of room as that goes out of play. Ninth pitch at bat into A.J. Lee. Here's the 3-2. That one's hit foul as well. 3-2 the count to A.J. Lee, the freshman from Maryland. The 3-2. That one's popped up right side. Vansall will come in and call everyone off to make the catch. And the runners will stay at their respective bases. There's now one down here in the top of the ninth inning. Chinook's down by a 5-2 score. Jake Scudder coming up to the plate for the Miners.
Number 22, the first baseman, Nick Scudder.
First pitch to Jake Scudder. In there, called strike one. Scudder on the day 0 for 4. A couple ground outs and a couple fly outs. The 0-1. That one's fouled right back. Owing to the count to the first baseman, Jake Scudder. And this would be a big out here for the Chinooks with runners at second and third. The 0-2. That's hit on the ground towards Will Bass. He'll try to go to the plate, but he's safe at the plate. So that will bring in a run to score. Miners take a 6-2 lead.
Batting number 26, the left fielder, Michael Donadito.
So Michael Donadio now to the plate for the Miners. First pitch to him will miss inside, ball one. The 1-0. In there, called strike one. Donadio 0 for 3 today. A couple groundouts and a flyout. And that'll barely get away from Spencer Lininger. He'll be able to grab it in time to keep the runners from advancing. The 2-1. Down the ground toward short. Alvarez flips it over to Bass for one. Back out of her in time. Out number 3. So the 6-4-3 double play will do it here for the top of the ninth. Chinooks, though, have 4 runs to make up to tie this one up as we enter the bottom half of the ninth. Welcome back on out to Lee Jordan Field. We're in the bottom half of the 9th inning. Chinooks. Stephen Kolick still on the hill for the Miners. He's trying to go for 85 pitches. That'll be ball number 1 to Mallard, as that will fall right in front of me. So Mason Mallard will lead things off. That'll be Hunter Vansaw and Tim Millard. The 1-0. Foul tips that one back. Mason 0 for 2 today. The 1-1. That'll miss inside, ball 2. Two and 1 the count. Here's the 2-1. Inside, ball 3. The 3-1 the count to Mason Mallard. Here's the 3-1. That'll miss inside, ball 4. So Mallard draws the walk to start the bottom of the 9th.
Number 22, right fielder, Hunter Vansaw.
So Hunter Vansaw's up to the plate. Nobody down. Runner at first and Mason Mallard. Chinooks down 6-2. First pitch to Vansaw. Misses outside, ball 1. The 1-0. Mallard on the move. That's ball 2. Slides in safely, does Mason Mallard. That's steal number 10 for him on the summer. So it's a 2-0 count to Vansaw. Chinooks have a runner in scoring position in Mason Mallard. Vansaw 0 for 3 today. The 2-0. This is low, ball 3. Kolick might maybe starting to show some signs of fatigue. The 3-0. Up and away, ball 4. So second straight walk allowed by Kolick. Kolick now at 93 pitches so far today. And now they're starting to get someone out and loose in the bullpen. Looks like that's Jordan Floyd getting loose. So it looks like they're going to have a meeting on the mound. I would think to give Floyd some more time to get loose. Because I'm not sure Matt Greeley, the pitching coach for the Miners, could walk out there any slower if he tried. But, you know, you got to do what you got to do. So we thank you for joining us here on the Chinook Radio Network. Chinooks play the Miners both today and tomorrow before we have 2 straight off days. And I can speak for not only the players but myself, very in need of an off day because everyone who didn't play the All-Star game got a pretty good off day yesterday, but there was still a lot of non-Chinook non-All-Stars from the Chinooks that were out there at Mulcahy Stadium for just about the entire day of festivities. So now Tim Millard will come to the plate. Runners at first and second with nobody down. So Tim Millard stepping up. Both Mallard and Vansaw reached on walks. First pitch to Tim Millard. In there, called strike 1. Millard 0 for 3 today. A couple of strikeouts and a ground out. Here's the 0-1. Swing and a miss from Millard. He'll fall behind 0-2. Going to the count to Tim Millard, the redshirt sophomore from Dallas Baptist. The 0-2. That's lined just over the outstretched hands of Bissonette. So that'll be a single from Tim Millard. That loads up the bases for Aaron Shackelford with nobody down here in the bottom of the ninth. So Shackelford now represents the tying run, and this will be it for Kolick. So Kolick will finish the day with 96 pitches. As he was trying to go for the complete game, will be unable to do so. So we'll have a new pitcher in the game for the Miners. We'll tell you who that is in just a moment. Chinooks have the tying run up at the plate in Aaron Shackelford in the bottom of the ninth. And welcome back on out to Lee Jordan Field. Jordan Floyd, the pitcher for the Miners, replacing Stephen Kolick. Bases loaded for Aaron Shackelford. Shack shows bunt, pulls it back. That's ball one. And Brady Batten coming in to pinch run. He'll be running for Tim Millard over at first. The 1-0. Down low, ball two. Jordan Floyd on the hill for the Miners. Their closer has 8 saves. Has not allowed a single hit when facing the Chinooks. And he's faced the Chinooks several times. Here's the 2-0. That one's popped out left side. Thought it would get out of play. So 2-1 the count to Aaron Shackelford. He represents the run. We're in the bottom of the ninth. Chinooks down 6-2. Bases loaded. Mason Mallard at third. Hunter Vansaw at second. Brady Batten over at first. He's pinch running again for Tim Millard. Ethan Whisker waiting on deck. 2-1 the count to Aaron Shackelford. Here's the 2-1. That one's popped up left side. That'll again get out of play. Two and two the count to Aaron Shackelford. Nobody down here in the bottom of the ninth. Again, Shackelford representing the tying run. Two balls, two strikes to count. Bases loaded. The 2-2. Fouls that one back, stays alive at 2 and 2. Shackelford has been the most successful hitter at the plate so far today for the Chinooks. He's 2 for 3. Has 2 of the 5 Chinooks hits today. The 2-2. Chopped on the ground. Armano will go to second and back over to first for the double play. Mallard does come in to score, though. So it's 6-3. Chinooks still trail. So Whisker now up to the plate with 2 down. Hunter Mansaw at third. First pitch to Whisker. Down and outside, ball 1. Whisker had a double back in the 5th inning. The 1-0. Pops that one up right side. That could do it. And Garrison Schwartz will make the catch, and that will end this ball game. Chinooks will load up the bases, but they'll hit into the double play. So that'll do it for this one. Chinooks will fall by a score of 6-3 to the Matsu Miners. So for player of the game, I think this is a pretty simple choice. Going to go with Aaron Shackelford. Had 2 of the Chinooks hits and then grounded into a double play, but did bring in a run in the 9th inning. So I'm going to go with Aaron Shackelford as my player of the game. So again, Chinooks will fall by a score of 6-3 to the Miners. We're now going to step aside, and I'll be back with my post-game interview with Aaron Shackelford here in a little bit from the press box here at Lee Jordan Field. And thank you, Chinook fans, for sticking around. Aaron Shackelford, our player of the game for today, had 2 hits. And even though you played the DH role today, so you didn't have anything to do in the field, but went 2 for 4, I think, today on the day. So how did it feel to go 2 for 4?
I felt good. I mean, wish I could have done more in the last inning, but just how it goes sometimes.
That's how it goes sometimes. Like you said, 2 for 4. You were able to see the ball pretty well today. So what exactly were you seeing at the plate?
Just exactly that. Just seeing it out of the hand better and staying through balls. Felt good.
Staying through the ball. And I know you said you wish you could have done more, but Jordan Floyd, probably one of the best closers, if not the best closer in the league. And I think the fact that you were at least able to get it into play, I know you don't feel good about it, but it's better than, going up there swinging and missing.
I mean, I felt like I was seeing it pretty good. Felt like I should have done better than that, but it's all right. That's how it goes.
It is what it is. You can't win them all, Shaq. Thanks for taking the time. I
Thank
won't waste too much of your time.
Thank you.
So we'll be right back here tomorrow against the very same Matsu Miners. Hopefully a better result for the Chinooks as they fall today 6-3.